All right, before anybody says anything, I've got a fan at my feet. So if you hear in a motor, it's the fan at my feet because I just did my treadmill. 4 miles a day on the treadmill. Every now and then I get asked, how'd you lose the weight? 4 miles a day on the treadmill, and carbs are bad. Carbs are bad. Speaking of bad, I think the odds of anybody knocking out Vegas in the first round were pretty bad this year, and the Vegas Golden Knights, who came in as the number one seeds, and I talked during the round robin about teams that were taking this seriously, and it felt like Vegas and Colorado out west were taking it more seriously in the round robins than necessarily St. Louis and Dallas, and the results kind of showed that. And tonight, the Chicago Blackhawks, who had relied on breakdowns to get past the Oilers and did a great job of it, didn't get those breakdowns tonight from the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas was kind of convincing tonight. This is one of those games that it was pretty convincing. So if you're a Hawks fan, this was a tough one. It was nice to see Golden Pipes doing the American anthem, and his partner, who he sings with, doing the Canadian anthem, and L.C. Myers, I think. Anyways, it was nice to see the two of them. I believe the band they have together is Cover Lane, I think. Cover Lane, Las Vegas, something along those lines. So, yeah. Carnell's fantastic. And that was nice to see. And then Vegas starts their fourth line. So Vegas right out of the gate was saying, okay, we're going to have our identity. We've got Golden Pipes doing the anthem. We've got the fourth line on the ice. Oh, and Robin Lehner's in net. There was way too much played about Lehner versus the Blackhawks. Honestly, Lehner has an excellent record against teams that have traded him. I think there's too much made of, do these guys have a book on the goaltenders? The goaltender have a book on the players? Once you get to the game, it's a game. And dangerous early chance for the Hawks, but Lehner stood tall in that one. Theodore exited the game, at least he did, and then he came back, and he was only out for a brief period, but Pierre Maguire kept updating us every time he left the bench and get back to the bench, and I don't know how many times it was because I just kind of tuned it out after a while. Both goalies looked sharp early. A lot of talk of Lehner versus the Hawks. Lehner, you would think that Robin Lehner had played for Chicago for a decade. You would think that, and rather than having played for the Islanders and Buffalo and Ottawa, now Chicago, he's been through a number of teams. But I would say that the way he played tonight, and with the fact that he started tonight, I think there's a really good chance he's their starter next season. I think that's where they're leaning. I think they want to keep him around. And with the current financial situation, with the global issue that we're all going through, I think the odds of there being more bridge contracts and fewer guys going to free agency, I think Lehner staying in Vegas is a pretty good bet right now. The one interesting question I would have is, so if Marc-Andre Fleury's there getting paid $7 million and he's kind of the backup, right? That's the question mark I would have with that. Shots were even through the first 12 minutes. It honestly was a very tentative first period. Neither team's taking a lot of risks. A lot of waiting for the other team to have a breakdown. It didn't really happen. So after the first period, I did the preview for the games for tomorrow and mentioned these teams need to wake up. And maybe they watched the preview and went, hey, Shannon's right, we need to wake up. Second period, and as outlandish as that sounds to me, I've met enough former players in the game and talked to enough people to know there's a chance players. Well, I don't think. I mean, obviously not during the game, but it's weird. You try not to think about it. You really try not to think about it. Taves nearly got one 30 seconds in. It went wide. If that one had gone in, the game it could have had a whole different complexion. Honestly, things got kind of scrappy 5 minutes in, but the shots were only 1-1 through 5.5 minutes. And I was asking, who does a slow game favor? Does it favor the Hawks to have more of a slow game? It doesn't matter because Lehner had a skate problem. The blade kept coming off. And I think Jeremy Colleton, from the looks of it, was telling the referee, look, this isn't the first time it's come off. He should leave. You have a reasonable amount of time you give a goaltender to have his equipment fixed. And after that, he has to go to the bench, go to the room, whatever he's going to do to get it fixed, and you have to put the backup in. And in these play-ins and now playoffs, it feels like the referees are giving more leeway there, where rather than saying, come on, hurry it up, let's get this done, they're kind of standing by and letting it take as long as it needs to. And sometimes the issues the goaltender has might just happen to be during a time that's advantageous for their team, whether they're killing a penalty, whether they've just got a power play, whether they're tired, whatever it is. And I'm not saying that there's a any sort of intent from Leonard here. There's not. It's just given the timing, I could understand if the other team wasn't all that happy. Theodore would score from Smith and Martinez at 7:22. Riley Smith had a fantastic game. Vegas then kept pushing for more. Once that first goal went in, it was open season on that net. Carrier got a goal. It was challenged as offside. I thought it looked like the skate was up. I thought, okay, so it's coming off the board. I'd actually raced it off the board, and then they said it was a good goal. From one side, it looked like the skate was up. From the other side, it looked like they dragged the toe as they were on the ice. I don't know. Again, there may be a third angle that shows for sure whether it was off or it was on, but they counted it, which means a power play. They don't score on the power play, but Carrier would score from Reeves and Raw. They would lead to that power play, and then Kampf scores shorthanded from Saad. So the power play kind of helps out the Chicago Blackhawks. So Kampf gets a nice one. He sniped glove side, just over the glove, just right in there. And yeah, Leonard looked good. I didn't think that was a bad goal. But then Doc takes a penalty to make it 5-on-3 for 4 seconds. But that's where the penalties kind of sort of end. That's kind of the end of it. Kane had a chance, nearly tied it. The game, it felt like it really opened up. The Hawks get a power play and a McNabb penalty. Skate problems for Leonard again. Fix it. This was during the Hawks power play too. So, and it's dangerous too because, this is his skate blade kept coming off. And it's one of those things where you could see a goaltender potentially getting injured because of trying to play without the skate blade. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Just, do like Rask and throw it at the ref. Actually, in this case, and what I've seen since the Tuukka Rask incident, the infamous Tuukka Rask incident, they blow it down right away almost every time now. Keith gets a chance that was deflected out of play. The Hawks were better after that 2-1 goal. More puck control for them. They evened up the shots in that second period. But then the third period happens, and they get an early chance. So they had that. And then Riley Smith from Marchessault at 3:32, and it was an awful goal. It's one of those ones that he half stops it with the blocker, and it bounced up and over and into the net. And in a playoff situation, you need your goaltender to stop that one. That one made it 3-1. It was not a great goal. Now, against Edmonton, they were able to outscore this. They were able to outscore the defensive issues or goaltending issues, and in this game, that wasn't happening. Post for Riley Smith, Crawford was shaky. The control belonged to Vegas with the 2-goal lead, and then they made it 3. Smith scores again from Marchessault, really nice backhand top shelf. And they even compared on video the Riley Smith goal to the McDavid one. You guys know the filthy mitts one that he had where he comes in backhand, top shelf over Crawford. Basically the same thing here, and that makes it 4-1. Martinez takes a penalty. Chicago gets a power play. The closest they get is Patrick Kane hitting the post. But Vegas has now outscored the opposition since the return, 10-1 in the third period. Very, very good in third periods. They win this game 4-1. They're up 1-0 in this series. If they win game 2 in the same kind of manner, this one could be over fast. Shots were 9-5 Vegas in the first, 12-9 Vegas in the second, and 12-6 Vegas in the third. Final shots 33-20. Hits were 34-20 in favor of Vegas. This was a dominant show from top to bottom. Both teams were 0-2 on the power play, and of course Chicago had the shorthanded goal. Crawford, 29 saves on 33 shots. Leonard saved 19 out of 20, and for the record, Chicago had 4 posts in and amongst the 20 that actually hit the net. So yeah, if you're a Vegas fan and you feel confident, you should. If you felt confident coming into tonight, there was nothing in this game to tell you that you weren't right. And for the Blackhawks, it feels like they're against a team that might just be a teensy bit better defensively than Edmonton was. And I don't mean that as shade towards Edmonton. I mean that as saying that Vegas defensively is solid. They don't blow leads like that. And despite the 3 goals they allowed against Dallas in that one game in a relatively short period, that says more about Dallas being hot and cold, I think, than anything about Vegas defensively. And I think you stay with Leonard. I know the plan is likely going to be to have Leonard and Fleury. There are back-to-backs for every team in the first round. During the back-to-back, Fleury probably sees a game, but I would think Leonard's going to see the lion's share of games in this. And I know the betting line has Vegas as the favorites, along with Colorado, to win the Stanley Cup. I didn't see anything tonight to say that that's going to change. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding this game. Remember, early tomorrow morning, if you're on the West Coast, it's 8 in the morning early, Boston and Carolina. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.